Crazy times, yeah. All good, man.
Yep, some crazy times. I'm on this app though, and it gets crazy around here. You know.
Yeah.
I'm out here to flip boats personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we got a few people
Matthew
just
Dawson
waiting
came
in the
back.
queue.
Good.
We got a few people waiting in the queue. You guys want to stick around, just chat with folks that show up?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Cal, I don't know if you saw my message where I was like, as soon as that person asked to come up, we ended the live. Not really a good look.
Oh no! Somebody asked to come. Oh,
yeah, Matthew Dawson. He came back, but I was like, we probably should have like gotten his name or like messaged him or something.
I see him here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the button here. Let him in. Yeah, I started just trying to figure out what the heck was going on with my screens. And anyway, Matthew, how are you this evening? Late morning or early
Pretty
morning?
good.
Good deal. What's on your mind?
Not a whole lot. I mean, sometimes you see these lives and I join them. Not really sure too much what this one's about. I put in the chat, are y'all Trump supporters? Because that's most of the ones I see on here, unfortunately.
It's interesting that depending on what side of the aisle you are, the folks always seem to have the opposite reaction, and I don't know if that's on purpose from the algorithm or what. But so I'm supporting Trump, but when I log in, I see a lot of liberal, left-leaning lives. I don't see very many Trump lives.
Well, it's because you tend to comment probably and engage more with those lives.
Probably that's probably it.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Yeah, probably.
They've outsmarted me.
It's the algorithm. They want you to engage. So, Matthew, you're a Kamala supporter?
Yeah.
Nice. How old are you?
20.
Oh, yeah, young, huh? What state? Oh, so you're in Trump territory up there, pretty much, huh? For the most part, I guess.
Hopefully not for long.
Well, you're 20. I think you got a thing or two to learn about your government. Personally, I know when I was 20, I had a thing or two to learn about my government. But it is what it is. So you're a bit, so you seem pretty like I'm 100%. Is it because you agree with the policy situation, or do you just hate Trump?
Probably both. I mean, I would say the biggest driving factor for me, if you had to look at it in terms of percent, probably more than 50% is dislike of Trump. But I mean, I think Biden's been a good president. I think Harris would probably be more of the same.
So what's your favorite part about their presidency or administration thus far?
Sure. Probably my favorite parts, probably foreign policy with respect to Ukraine, and probably like some of the major pieces of legislation passed. I think the COVID stimulus that Biden did was pretty good. I liked a lot of the parts of that.
What part of that specifically?
Sure, I think like the what we were doing with the child tax credit, the expanded unemployment, the continuing the stimulus. Credit. I think it was needed at that time.
Well, the tax credit, that was under Trump, right? That's his child tax credit. We're still under Trump's tax plan, so.
Well, we are right now because No,
I mean about their administration thus far. That's why when you said that, I was like, wait a second, that one in particular is not about their administration. But what else?
Well, just to say, Trump changed the child tax credit with his 2017 tax bill. It got enhanced and expanded under the American Rescue Plan, but then that went away, and we couldn't get it brought back under the Build Back Better, which got turned into the IRA because of Manchin.
Wait, what hasn't are you talking about the child tax credit still specifically?
The child tax credit that was brought in 2021, which was a bigger benefit and expanded to more people, that's went away. Right now we're under the we've moved back to the Trump tax credit that came in 2017.
What was the expansion to the child tax credit that you were talking about? Did it go from somewhere to somewhere else, or what?
Yeah, I think it was like. Wait, I could look up the exact figure real quick.
Please.
I'm going to ask my AI too, because I don't know specifically.
Because I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I know that they talk about doing this, but I don't remember anything actually.
I didn't think anything passed. I don't recall that. So
Yeah,
I got to look it up myself. I can't remember everything.
Yeah, well, I know it's tough, especially when it comes to economics. It's hard to remember everything, but the latest just came out as far as the latest data from the Bureau of
BLS data on employment and all that.
Yep, and that I couldn't believe the 7,000 loss of native born Americans versus immigrant jobs, and the numbers were staggering. I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
Can you give me a breakdown? I've only looked at the top line. Like, what else was it like underneath?
Yeah, I haven't seen all that.
I usually read the summary because it's like a page. It's not that long, but I didn't do it this time yet.
Yeah. So and then the number of government jobs. I forget the exact number. I'll have to pull up the numbers, but I'm outside on my phone. I don't have my computer in front of me. But was pretty high too. Versus the immigrant jobs was a huge number.
Sure, I got the thing about the child tax.
As far as gain. Sure, yeah, what was that? I'm curious now.
Yeah, it said the American Rescue Plan temporarily expanded the credit to $3,000 per child, made it fully refundable, and extended eligibility to 17-year-olds. The expansion expired at the end of 22, so it was like a 1-year deal.
Yeah, and it was proposed to come back in what ended up being the IRA, I'm pretty sure, but because the Senate was split, Democrats like Manchin ended up shooting that down, and that didn't get included.
Yeah, the child tax credit. I mean, I got children and all, but I think it can help the economy as long as they're not spending so much money that inflation takes a turn to where it doesn't quite mean too much, right? That's the only other issue with it. If you look at the Fed and the amount of spending that went up through Trump's presidency was actually in line with every president since the 90s. And but then as soon as 2021 hit and Biden and them were in office with the infrastructure bill and all these different bills where they had to print a bunch of money, not physically print money, but they had to add a bunch of decimos and zeros, we have seen some pretty crazy inflation, and I just think that a lot of these bills are not even going to accomplish what they tend to say, and that's I think they're quite misleading, to be honest, personally.
You mean like the border bill that everyone likes to bring up all the time?
No, I wasn't talking about the border bill. The border, yeah, well, okay, fine. We did print a bunch of money to send to Ukraine, and you're an advocate of that, so I understand that. But I'm not an advocate personally. I think that what we're doing is
we're on the same side here, my friend.
I'm just saying that that what we're doing in Ukraine to me is more American imperialism than anything. Especially since we put together a coup in 2014 to overthrow their democratically run process to install somebody that will bend the knee to the United States, hence Zelensky,
Yeah, I'd strongly disagree with that. I think that's kind of a revisionist take, but
Well, it's proven we did put together a coup. Do you think that we didn't, or
no, I don't think we did.
Like, bullshit.
no?
No, I think the reason Yanukovych
sorry.
left is because he was incredibly unpopular. Was shooting down
He
deals.
was not unpopular. He wasn't. He was, he was very pro-Russian. He was not unpopular at all. He was elected.
Well, I don't know.
And
We could look this up. What do you think his polling numbers were in Ukraine after he shot down the deal that would have secured a trade agreement with the EU?
We're talking about after the coup, though.
No, that was the starting point for the so-called coup narrative. Is that gets shot down? Even think it had already been agreed to by their parliament, and he said he would have signed off on it, but he didn't. There were mass protests. Then
The
that's
protests
where
were the coup. Come on, buddy.
Yeah,
Please.
that followed the shooting down of this trade agreement. I'm saying
So
whatever
how
your
many
feelings are about it, that
supporters
preceded
of
it. That wasn't
Kamala
part
are
of
there?
it.
How many supporters of Kamala are in this chat?
There's one.
I am.
All right, so
Hey guys, I just let THC
why do you
up.
support
Appreciate
her?
the gift, Stacey. THC, go ahead.
What would you say?
We were in the middle of a conversation around foreign policy, THC, just FYI.
I get you, but why are you supporting Kamala?
Yeah, I'd say probably primarily. I didn't like Trump's presidency, but also I think Biden's been a pretty good president. Has absolutely defied what my expectations were of him. I mean that's kind of what it is. I think Harris is probably going to be more of the same. I wouldn't imagine too much different.
But also, I feel like that a lot of wrong that has to do with today's society is that we shadow ourselves into other people's accomplishments.
Hey guys, still on? I feel like you got cut off there for a sec there, THC.
For some reason, I don't know if you hit like the
so
screen.
complicated. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead, guys. Just, I guess, where we left off on the, was it just on the coup versus,
Nope, THC dropped.
oh, just connection?
Sorry, I have more. I'm just going back to my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so my AI, it's funny, the results it brings back, there's always a filter on it. And so it doesn't have any specifics. It's just kind of like a generic timeline of events from the 2014 events that happened. It just lists U.S. involvement as the Russian perspective says that they perceived that we had direct interference and orchestrated the coup. But it doesn't expand beyond that. I mean, it gives a bunch of references, but it's not,
yeah.
I think it's got like a conspiracy theory-ish kind of filter on it. So if anything starts to feel like that, it just stops. So.
Well, I mean, usually what it has to do with is that narrative is just pretty ill-supported. Usually I'm not going to say pro-Russian people, but I guess anti-Ukrainian people will try to say is that there was this like one phone call with Victoria something, I forget what her name was or what her role was in the State Department, saying like the opposition leader is our guy, and they point to that quote to try to use as evidence that we like orchestrated this whole coup, when I mean it kind of ends there. It seems like there's a way easier and more supported explanation for what happened in 2014 than it being a coup.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm not sure how my connection is, but I seem to have one bar. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
It seems better. You were a little choppy there for a little bit, like literally a minute ago, but as soon as you said you were going back to your Wi-Fi, it sounds way better now.
Right. Yeah, I still have bars, but Matthew, the United States has been involved in regime change for over 100 years now, and it's sped up significantly since the birth of the three-letter agency that starts with a C. And the godfather of that agency, I always forget his name, Durham, whatever. At the same time, Eisenhower went into office. And I'm not sure if you've seen his exit speech. Maybe you have. I think everyone should watch it. He warns the American people of the military-industrial complex. And he wasn't wearing a tinfoil hat when he said it. He was very serious. And then right after he went into office, right after he left office, in 53-ish or whatever, John F. Kennedy went into office. Very much a man of peace. Also a fuck around and find out type of guy, but also known to cozy up to dictators, if you know the term. He'd be on the phones with them, and talk about his family, their family, trying to de-escalate situations, keeping his enemies closest. And then the Vietnam War was on the brink. And he wanted nothing to do with it. He wanted nothing to do with it. And we all saw what happened to him. And so every president since then has been involved in these, conflicts and wars and coups and so on. And then in 1972, the three-letter agency that starts with a C implemented Operation M-Bird. And that basically gave them control of all the Hollywood media, news organizations, and so on. And they basically controlled the narrative from that point up. And then we had the birth of the internet. And the internet got smarter, and we all started connecting on there. And they pretty much lost grip on the narrative, and that's why somebody like Trump was able to get in there. And Trump, being this Hollywood dipshit, business Mongol, guy, got in there, and he wasn't corrupted yet by, the pharmaceuticals, the military-industrial corporations, super PACs under the thumb of all these people, including darker entities like the people who run stuff south of the border. But he wasn't under their thumb. And, of course, using these intelligent agency-controlled medias, they smeared the guy as much as they could because he threw a wrench in their bullshit. And granted, he didn't drain the swamp like he promised, but he drained it enough for us to see the damn swamp people. Okay? And I think that this is a perspective that most people don't get to see and understand. And I can understand why someone like you would hate the guy. I used to hate the guy too. I was a never Trumper, And so I guess when he got in there, he didn't have a cabinet ready. He didn't have anything ready. He was a dipshit, And they had to scramble to put one together. So they took all this advice from people they trusted, they didn't trust, and got a cabinet filled with, I don't even like to call them politicians these days. They're lawyers. They're lawyers for hire by these large entities, like I said, like the military-industrial, the pharmaceutical, the corporations, and so on. And this is the biggest problem we have with politics today, is that. And so this guy, not being corrupted, only been to the Hill 6 times before he even ran for president, got in there and said, hold my beer, let me see what I can do here. And when he was president, the guy got a lot accomplished. I mean, you seem like someone who's looked into some things or two, and I don't know how you feel about the executive orders that he did, like 13868 for the energy companies and making it easier for them to get through the permit process and the walls that were put up for them. When it came to the Save Our Oceans Act and caring about the environment, when it came to just the border issue with the stay in Mexico, I mean, shit, I guess his biggest accomplishment was for foreign policy was probably the Abraham Accords, I guess, but that actually had a really good trickle-down effect itself, where those countries like Morocco and all that stuff, they're doing all sorts of other extra now trade treaties and stuff like that, just because he got that accomplished. So that was actually a really good accomplishment. But he's not part of the M complex. So he didn't start any new wars. He actually tried to pull us out of one. And I'm not going to blame Biden or any of them
Well,
for
can I say
the
something?
debacle. Yeah, of course, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you can talk about accomplishments like of Trump, I do think it's kind of weird though. This is the guy that, I mean, what was one of his sticking points coming into office? It was that he's a businessman. He can get things done, bring people together, this whole type of deal, and he did astonishingly little of that. I mean, you kind of, I think they're admit it yourself, talking about his accomplishments. Most of those just come with the job. When you're talking about executive orders or appointing people to the Supreme Court, right, which is probably his biggest. Yeah, I'm saying legislatively, he got very little done. If you stack that up to his campaign promises, like passing a major infrastructure bill, repealing and replacing the ACA, building a wall and having Mexico pay for it, all these type of things.
Well, let's stick to a couple of those points though, and not try to jump around. But we did build the 500 miles of wall up close to that, which is good. Right, walls aren't perfect, but they do work as a deterrent, especially for people bringing up children that aren't theirs.
Well, I mean, how many new miles of wall were actually built under Trump that weren't there before?
Almost 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was another I forget the number, but there was a significant amount that was also repaired under his administration too.
Yeah, I think there's a nasty internet rumor going around that the answer is 0, but it's not the case. I've heard that come up a few times.
But now we have Kamala showing off Donald Trump's big, beautiful border wall in her political advertisements.
Oh, well,
so that's interesting.
That's just politics and the way it works sometimes,
Sure. I want to say about the border thing. You said he built 500 miles of new wall that wasn't there before.
It was close. It was like 400 and something. Yeah.
Oh, and hey, let's welcome McIntyre in here. Hope you're doing well. Oh, McIntyre, excuse me.
Yeah, politics are going to be politics, and even Trump, unfortunately, has to be a politician these days. Because the only way he's going to get back in there is if he gets under the thumb a little bit of some of these people as well, it seems.
Oh, so he is a politician.
Yeah, these
Wait,
days
did you
he
hear
is,
what I
which is
said?
unfortunate. Yeah. What? Go ahead.
No, I was just asking, do you trust PolitiFact, or do you just do you think that's a not credible organization? I don't know. A lot of Trump people don't say they don't like some of these fact checking.
Yeah, I don't trust any opinion piece. I don't trust.
It's not an opinion
a lot of
piece.
these things.
Don't ask them what they do or do not consider credible. Just say it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it doesn't matter what they consider credible.
Who's they? You mean? Oh,
People, Trumpers.
oh.
Okay.
That's not true.
The thing I'd pulled up was saying Trump's administration had built 52 miles of primarily new border wall that hadn't existed before. I think what you're referring to is repairs that were done on already existing border wall. I don't think he built 500 new miles of border wall.
If they replaced it, I mean, it's kind of new. And
That's
Not how that works. That's not how that works.
Well, yeah, and he only built 52 miles of new wall. I mean, if people were already okay with the wall that existed, I mean, I don't think that was really what he was running on.
Yeah, it's an abject failure. It's another lie. It's another failed campaign promise.
Well, I don't know why if
And I mean-
they're like dilapidated structures, right, and it's not really doing the job. If those get shored up, I don't know why that's a failure.
It doesn't work anyway. It doesn't work anyway. There's literal video of Lindsey Graham standing down there while people climb over the wall. It doesn't matter. It's a dumb deterrent.
as I
It's
said a
stupid.
second
It
ago-
doesn't work at all.
As I said a second ago, it does work as a deterrent for some, especially.
No, it doesn't.
Hold on, relax. I'm saying it does work as a deterrent for some, especially people who come up with small children that aren't theirs.
So
America,
which is it? Are we plagued with millions of people?
Of child sex trafficking, and it may be second now, but up there.
You got
in
a
the
source
world.
for that?
Yeah, hold on. There's a source for that.
I mean, you could. Well, no, go on.
No, yeah, there's definitely a source for that. And
And-
yes, we
ahead.
are. I think we're either first or second. But yeah, give me a second. Shit, if you really want a source.
I don't know what the border has to do with that.
Well,
It's
it does
like
have
the-
a lot to do with it, but sure.
Sure,
It's-
well,
it's-
Do you think the border doesn't have anything to do with that type of activity?
Trafficking?
Are you naive?
What do you mean? Like drug trafficking?
You think
right?
there's absolutely no trafficking going on
I didn't know. I didn't say that. That's a dumb thing to say.
That
That's how trafficking works. Is you have to cross a border. But like, is a wall going to stop that kind of trafficking?
What are you going to do? Catapult the child over the wall?
Well, I'd like to say, I think, you could argue about how effective walls are or aren't. All my original point was Trump came in saying he's going to build a wall, not he's going to, primarily repair the existing wall and maybe add on like a little bit more. He said he was going to build a wall and that Mexico is going to pay for it. And then he lied, tried to say they paid for it because of how he negotiated the USMCA. That was a lie. It seems like it's just all these falsehoods one after another, and it's an example of a failure of a campaign promise.
Right. It's the same bullshit because 90% of the drugs that arrive into this country arrive through regular ports of entry. They're not smuggled by brown people or abuelas who are carrying their grandchildren. They come through cars, through regular ports of entry from U.S. residents, from white people.
And I mean,
Look at the,
it's just like how
the-
most illegals that are here are overseas visas. Like, I mean, it's kind of a detriment to the narrative of people flooding across the border.
You can look at the shelter for abuse of women and children. That's one place you can go look at the statistics. Hold on, let me see if I can get you another. Give me a second. I mean, other than that, there's other sites, but I want to find something more, things that you can actually, trust, I guess. Give me a second.
Well, I'd like to say while you're looking that up, I mean, I named a couple other like major kind of policy failures of Trump. I mean, would you dispute any of those?
Oh, which ones? I missed it.
Like passing a major infrastructure bill, repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act. I mean, they repealed one part of it, but I mean, primarily.
So the infrastructure bill, Trump tried to pass an infrastructure bill that got blocked. But then he did start the original CHIPS Act with factories in, I believe, Arizona. I think. Hold on, if you want, or New Mexico, Arizona, I think.
Starting doesn't matter. Passing does.
Well, the problem is with what we got going on now when it comes to the CHIPS Act, nothing's being done about it. We are in a rush to get this
That's
done.
not true.
Yes, no, there is.
Factories are
we have a
being
DEI
built.
situation where it's hard to
A
hire
DEI
people.
situation? What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, no, I mean we're having trouble hiring for the CHIPS Act right now. Look
It's
it
just
up. Hold on.
buzzwords.
If you want me to
It's
give
just
you,
That's
buzzwords.
not true. That's
Yes,
the dumbest
it
thing I've
is.
ever heard.
it is
That's
100%
ridiculous.
true. You guys are tripping, dude. I'm
Plants
sorry,
are
but-
plants are being built. In
also,
Ohio.
right-
They're
right-
already
Yeah,
built.
the plants that started under Trump. Hold on.
No, they're not because they weren't funded.
Wait. Do you really want to tout Trump's manufacturing record?
Excuse me.
I mean, is that something you'd want to tout? Like, do you think he did particularly good on manufacturing?
Do I think he did good under manufacturing? And manufacturing didn't exactly fall, except for COVID situations. But even then, it wasn't that bad, even under COVID. So, what's your point you're trying to make?
Well, sure. I mean, him saying, he's going to bring back manufacturing and all this. I mean,
Sure.
One that
yeah.
One that
I
didn't
think
happen.
he will with the incentives as far as the tax plan he's putting
What do you
together.
mean he
for him.
will?
Sure.
Well, look at his tariffs. I mean, his tariffs were literally job negative.
Tariffs take
what the fuck
tariffs-
does he will
Tariffs
mean?
take a few years to really take an effect economically. But yeah, I could show you charts and all that
just
stuff.
like his
if I had
tax
them.
cuts, just a couple
you
more
got,
years,
you got
bro.
nothing. You're just flailing.
Hold on, for real.
Bills actually being passed.
Well, no, the thing Trump and his supporters will say is, if I was just in there another 4 years, it would have all happened. And just like when he lied and said, yeah, we would have started paying down the debt if I was in there for another 4 years.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So wait, let me guess. You guys probably want to tax the rich and have free health care for all, right?
Don't deflect. Don't deflect.
No. I'm just saying.
You're
the way you guys are
flailing.
just jumping.
You're
The way
flailing.
you guys are
You're
jumping.
flailing.
I am
You're
not
jumping.
flailing.
You're
Thank
like, I'll show
very
you
much.
charts.
Hang on,
I'll show
guys,
you
hang on.
I'm
charts.
sorry, Mister.
Let's stick to the topic.
If you're so
Let's stick to
confident,
materials, not so much of the.
What's the
flailing and
topic?
going back and forth.
Is it chips
sure.
or is it the border? What's the topic? We've been jumping because your boy down there is busy looking for
talk
stuff.
about
Oh, I'm not
any of those
jumping.
items,
My boy-
but
your
let's not
boy
do the
isn't doing
flailing and all
anything.
that
Sure,
stuff.
I'd like to say, we do
you
acknowledge it was
need to stop jumping to the fact that you think you're right and just let's have a conversation.
No, I am right.
Don't act like a little shit.
Well, I'd like to say,
You jumped to a hypothetical Trump chips bill, which didn't pass, which nothing happened.
Well, no. Things started. The
actually passed.
Chips Act
Things
started under
Things
Trump
that
and
doesn't mean
definitely
anything.
expanded.
That doesn't
But
mean anything.
We are having issues with
So point to a
hiring
piece
in
of
the Chips
legislation
Act.
that passed. Point to a thing
Wait, is
legislation
Trump's-
that he passed.
is Trump's name in any way connected, or like, is there a through line from Trump to the CHIPS Act that was passed in 2022?
Nope.
Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to say, I mean, if you can show any type of like clear through line, like Trump had a hand in introducing this bill that didn't get passed or was amended until
we're talking about a whole
2022.
new bill under Biden. You're talking about, right? But yes, hold on. If you give me a
It
sec,
started, but it started. Give him some time. He needs to go Google and figure out what he said.
No. I just
Things
got to
that back
go
it
to
up.
I just got to go to the Discord and bring it all up. So I mean, I don't have a.
Oh, you have your
computer
buddies
up
helping you.
to
Okay,
do
cool.
that. Yeah.
Micron, $40 billion under Biden. Qualcomm, Global Foundries, $4.2 billion. Investments all passed. Even including Joe Manchin, which is crazy.
Spending. Yes.
Well, sure. I mean,
right.
also, you can go on.
These
you
are
can go on-
investments by private companies.
Yeah, you can go on Fred right now and look at like real non-residential
I looked at
manufacturing
Fred
investment.
today, and yeah,
I know-
if you look
I know
at the
your Discord
spending
buddies
under
aren't helping you out with
Hold on,
that.
We can definitely go look at the Fred. Definitely.
Yeah. Pull up real non-residential manufacturing investment.
Oh, we can pull up the Fred. Jeez.
Micron is announcing $40 billion investment. That is not American taxpayer money. That is a private company. Crickets. He's struggling. Great content.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm looking up the details on the CHIPS Act. So, the tax incentives.
Wait, can you copy links, paste it in chat?
It doesn't let you like click on it or anything like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, like,
Or I don't know
like
if you
I
can
said-
like select it or anything either. You know what I mean?
Sure helps that actually somebody passed a bill to allow plants to be built here, semiconductors to be manufactured here, which is American manufacturing, not relying on foreign countries, adversaries like China to do it, that they're being actually built in Ohio, which brings jobs to Ohio. So you're welcome for that.
So
well, sure, and also,
Mark,
like, I
are
think,
you saying that those outcomes were not objectives of Trump?
Of course I'm saying that. I'm saying that is a bill that Biden passed.
Well, I mean, like Trump did not want to have those objectives.
It doesn't matter if he
think-
doesn't want to have them. He didn't pass them. These are broken promises. Like
Well, I
the 52/500 miles of wall, which is always bullshit. Starts out at a bullshit lie, ends up in a mediocre, compromised, watered down nothing,
All right,
and then
okay. So hang on a sec. So those outcomes, right? Manufacturing come to the United States, security of our technology. Those outcomes Trump shared, right? Why didn't it
No,
work out?
the way Trump did it was
no, I agree. Why didn't he do that? Why didn't he do that?
I mean, I think if I could say real quick, Trump's idea of like industrial policy was way less targeted and way more, I guess, retarded than what Biden's is, right? Like with the CHIPS Act, there's a clear
Is that
strategy.
word back now? Like I just see people just like flippantly throwing that around now. Is Gen Z just like bringing it back?
They're bringing it back from the 90s. Like it's okay now.
Yeah, well, I mean, all I was saying was just like Biden's strategy is more like we're going to target these specific industries, right? Like a bunch of chips are made in Taiwan. There's an impending conflict there right now. Maybe we should be making a lot of these here. It's not just this stupid like hand waving at like the trade deficit, which Trump doesn't even know what
The
that
how
means.
is important though, y'all. Like how come it didn't work out under Trump? I mean, all that national
he didn't pass
security interest
anything.
around it, right? He's
not
also
pass
talks
anything.
national security
He
on
couldn't
oil and other
He
energy
couldn't
assets.
bring people together.
What was
He couldn't
it
bring.
that-
He couldn't bring Congress together with better margins than Biden's had.
Because Trump runs on a
So
bully
he didn't
pulpit.
pass
It's
it. So
large-
what? He vetoed it when it came to his desk. It came to his desk, and he said, "Nope." Sorry, I think
So
It's about bringing
that is the
support.
largest endorsement I've ever heard of Joe Biden as president, is because Trump is a bully pulpit executive president, and that does not get stuff done. And Joe Biden got it done. He passed an infrastructure bill. He passed a fucking common sense gun law bill, as watered down and as trash as it is, and he passed the Chips and Science Act, which builds semiconductor plants in the Midwest.
So I mean, Trump
Which
wrote
gun law
executive
bill was
orders
this?
on,
This common sense
on
gun
gun
law
control
bill
as
was
well.
this? What?
You can kind of look to those things as well, but the how is important though, right? The reasons Trump came into power were a lot driven by what he termed as the swamp. The
But you're talking about like social aspects.
not being.
But I feel like this is more of the Trump deflection, where when he fails at something, it's either someone else's fault or someone backstabbed him or whatever. Ultimately, Trump ran on being a businessman and being someone that could unify the country and get things done, and someone that knew how to make deals. He's had better margins than Biden has had in Congress for his whole 4 years. Could not get even like 10%. I mean, whether you like the legislation or not, he was pretty ineffective. Couldn't get 10% of what Biden has passed.
So there's an important piece that you're skipping over here, right? The Trump was not brought in like with open arms by the Republican Party. He was a complete like outsider. So they did stop.
And what
him
is he
on
now?
all of those things.
And what is he now? God King.
Well, now the party is centered around him, whether they like it or not. They have to. They have to get everything runs through him.
Yeah.
that point
So
in time,
now
in
you're
2016,
ignoring
it was a different
context.
scenario.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, if Trump was intelligent, don't you think maybe he would? I mean, he should, when he's making these campaign promises, maybe he should like hedge his bets a little bit and say,
Yeah, no,
give
I
some
can go
more
with that.
iffy
Like you want to like under promise and over deliver, right? I mean, that certainly should have been something that was done, especially considering the nature of politics, and he didn't have, I guess that level of awareness as to how difficult it would be to actually get some of these things run through.
Well, I mean, he's running for president. I mean, I think at some point you have to treat Trump like he's an actual adult and not a toddler, which is the expectations that it seems like conservatives have for him. I mean, like, damn, it seems
That's a
like
stretch. I don't see that exactly.
Kamala Harris won't even answer a question without a supervisor.
Well, I mean, wait,
Deflection.
why has she been pressing Trump to do this
Sure,
debate
deflection,
when Trump got fired?
Deflection.
Well, I
no,
mean,
she
here's the
hasn't.
thing.
It's been
why
one
is she
interview.
agreeing to this?
Donald Trump has
Ignore
literally
it.
done
Ignore it.
35 different podcasts and interviews.
Ignore it.
Who was
the last
the
time I heard
one that tried
somebody
to back
repeat
out of the
themselves like
debate?
that, they were looking for a safe zone.
Ignore
They
it.
were yelling safety over again.
Deflection. Back
No,
on
I'm just saying,
topic.
who's
That's
the
a
one that
funny
tried to back out of the
thing.
debate?
Matthew, ignore it. Deflection. Move on.
That's a really funny behavior, Mark. It's a common liberal thing. Just continue to repeat.
I'm not a liberal.
sentiments
It's a
normally like safe
deflection.
zone.
It's a deflection.
I mean, I'd like to
You're
say,
just gonna plug your ears and say la la la.
Because you're not talking about the
other
actual
gentleman here
topic.
is talking about,
You're not talking about a deflection. You're not actually talking about the actual topic. You're trying to.
We were literally
change the
just talking about
subject.
handling Donald Trump with kid gloves.
well, here's my question though. Like,
It's not a deflection.
well, you'll talk about Harris not doing
Not
these
the
interviews or
topic that
whatever.
was brought up by the other side.
We're talking about chips, and then we're talking about guns, and then we're talking about handlers and like topics.
No, I asked a question about guns and then no one answered. So now
I
I'm moving
did.
on.
I did.
Well, I'd just like
When?
to say real quick that you're talking about one thing. You said Harris not doing these interviews or whatever. I mean, for one,
Oh,
if you
Jesus
watch
fucking
any
Christ.
if you watch any of Trump's interviews, like this most recent one he did with that Lex Friedman guy, it's literally nothing but softball questions. He doesn't get asked real questions. He basically doesn't even do interviews.
So
He's
why
also
didn't she do the softball thing? Very easy to go on MSNBC and do it.
Well, I mean, it's
They do a lot of softball interviews. It's part of the gig.
Well,
I mean,
seems
they
like she
did,
cares
they did
more
one
about-
with
about
CNN
getting
with
these
Dana Bash. It was
debates.
17 minutes.
well, I
But
think
whatever.
Well, I think she probably cares more about getting these debates done, which Trump backed out of after agreeing to, and now he's kind of stumbled back into it.
What?
Oh man.
What was anything about that wrong, or
No, it's
Yes,
it's
Donald
funny.
Trump
Like I
proposed
hear
3
the
debate
same
dates,
thing said by
and-
both sides, right? They'll say the exact same thing.
well, I mean,
About the other
there's
candidate.
a factual answer to this. Harris never backed out of that debate. Trump agreed to a debate on a specific day on a specific network. Given that a candidate had made a specific polling requirement, Harris fit all those preconditions, and then Trump tried to back out of it, and now he's come back into
No.
it.
No, Donald Trump agreed to a debate with Joe Biden.
No,
as
the terms of the debate
sitting
was
Democratic nominee.
the terms of the debate were anyone polling above 15%.
But in all seriousness, the candidate that he was going to debate was Biden.
Sure, maybe he should have had the foresight to make that a condition. Too bad he didn't agree to that.
He should have had the foresight
but-
that Biden was going to get kind of pushed aside and Harris was going to come in.
Well, I mean, isn't that the narrative conservatives have been running with since 2020, that eventually Harris was going to
Yes.
take over and that Biden was going to step down? I mean, damn, you'd think he'd remember what he said 3 years ago. Too bad we don't hold him to that standard.
Wow, that's interesting. So you're telling me that
I
they
mean, it's
should
not
have planned
interesting,
for
it's
this because it
true.
was
What I
like an
said is
eventuality.
true. I mean, it's interesting that he's a retard, yeah, and you hold him to such low standards, but I mean, nothing about that was false.
Really sticking with it.
Yep.
Hey, approach, got you back in.
Yeah, sorry, no, I'm trying to freaking fire up my laptop here, but hold on, damn it, it's gonna drive me crazy. Give me a
But
second.
no, I just think it's interesting because Trump proposed 3 debates to Kamala Harris. One was with Fox, one was with MSNBC, and then one was with ABC, keeping the September 10th debate. And Kamala Harris basically said, no, we're going to do the September 10th one, and that's it, because that's what we agreed to. And then she went back and tried to change all the terms, basically saying, we need to be sitting, we need to have notes, we unmuted mics, like,
While we're bouncing around and like
Well, the-
deflecting, do you like
yep,
like
deflecting again,
say-
yep, deflecting,
I'd like to respond to that. I'd like to
do you-
respond to that.
No, please
I
don't
understand,
deflect
but
10
do
times
you
again.
but do you just like say her name wrong on purpose? Like, is that is like the line, right? Is like we're supposed to like fuck it up, just like to be like, I don't know, like a touch racist or something.
Kamala.
no.
What are you talking about?
Are you upset with me because I pronounce her name wrong?
That's what. No,
I
I'm
don't do it
asking
on
you if
purpose.
you do it on purpose.
Oh
No.
my Lord have mercy.
Okay, cool.
Well, I mean, I would like to respond to what you said. I mean, ultimately, you would acknowledge that Trump agreed to a debate on a specific time on a specific network under a certain set of preconditions, which was polling. I don't think any of it ever said it would necessarily be against Joe Biden.
But the implication was that he would, since the debate originally was with Joe Biden with CNN,
But because
everyone
it's not
was
Biden
probably
anymore,
thinking
he
it was
doesn't
going
have
to be
to.
probably Joe Biden.
Sure.
Well,
Well, do you
because
think maybe he
well,
should have
because it's not.
realized what he was
gets to
signing up
retreat.
to, and maybe not give him this like workaround where, oh, well, the implication. Well, I'm talking about what's on paper. Maybe he should have read the contract before he signed up for it, or maybe he's
I don't
too much
think,
of a, like
I
I
don't
said,
think he's
retard to
super
do so.
worried about it.
No, I'm just saying.
If I was
don't like
Donald
the-
Trump, I would debate Kamala Harris. I'm
So
sorry.
when is the
I'm
debate
sorry.
again? Is it next week? Like next Tuesday or something?
Tuesday. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mark Time. How would you like me to pronounce Kamala Harris's name? Because I don't know how to say it apparently, and it bothers you. How would you like me to pronounce her name?
No, I was mostly just. Are you like doing just like the party line thing of like we're supposed to pronounce this like black woman's name wrong on purpose?
No, I would actually like to know how to pronounce her name.
It's literally just Kamala, like
Kamala?
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Okay. I don't know if there was like, it was like so Kamala?
You got it, nailed it.
Okay, sweet. Easy day. I'm
Our better
gonna mess it
people.
up. But anyway, the issue is
Chameleon?
Right on cue. Party liner.
Sorry. I mean, come on. You act like we can't just joke, you know? It's like, shut the hell up. Jeez. You know we're not voting for her.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah.
I'm voting for RFK, so I don't know what you guys are doing.
Who's voting for RFK?
Perfect. Cha-ching.
I'm kidding.
I love the idea of the uniparty. That's actually sounds so cool. They'll be like debating in front of us the whole time, you know, just being transparent. Should be pretty dope, actually. This is interesting. Huh. Let me see if I can pull this up. This is
Party as in like Democrats and Republicans are like really aren't that different. Like assuming that like we're all voting for capitalism.
I take it more as a reference to corruption that's rampant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think Trump wasn't corrupt?
Do you
No,
think
that's
Tulsi
the opposite
Gabbard
of
is
what-
corrupt?
That's the opposite of what we just said. Yes, she's corrupt. Of course she's corrupt.
How?
No, wait.
There's different effects that come in that
Why is
have
Tulsi
a-
Gabbard relevant? I was talking about Trump.
Tulsi Gabbard is also endorsed Donald Trump.
Sure, but wait, are you voting for her for president?
I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Okay,
And
yeah, and my question was, do you think
RFK.
Trump isn't corrupt?
I actually don't think so. I
Okay,
think
do
he's
you
far
think
less
when-
corrupt
do you
than
think
any
when-
other politicians that we have that
That's
are
the
sitting.
fucking
Do you think
craziest
when,
thing I've ever heard. That's fucking
I'd like to say-
crazy.
Well, hang on, Mark.
do you
Tell
think
me
when,
what you think is corruption is, because
Wait, do you think
typically
when
it's a lot
Trump
of
is
folks
asking
take
the
new insider
DOJ
trading
to sign
or
fake
take
letters to send
special
to
interest
states,
money.
Trump is telling the DOJ to just send it and let me handle it later, to send these threats of charges down to states alleging that they found voter fraud when they didn't, alleging that the DOJ has conducted an investigation and found fraud even when they did.
You keep saying alleging. You keep saying alleging.
I know.
Yeah, wait.
You know what?
Would you acknowledge that the DOJ?
I think
the
there are
DOJ
two things
never
that you
conducted a
shouldn't talk
formal
about in your
investigation
life.
and found
Politics,
voter
Cal.
fraud. Outcome
political
determinative
Cal.
voter fraud.
You should stay away from anything that has to do with 2020 election or Jan 6. Those are the two subjects you can't talk about on TikTok these days. I would stay out of that subject if I were you.
All right,
Sure,
let's-
I mean,
let's
it's
take that advice.
tangential. I'm not
Here, I'm
I'm
going
not
to
even
expand
saying
the screen for you
there
here.
was or
Go ahead.
wasn't.
No, I was just kind of looking at this. My
The fuck is
my
this?
economic buddy. This is all like from the Fred. So I was just kind of looking at this real quick. No, it's just basically this is the spending. If you look at 2016, all the way up, all kind of on a same line that we were on. And then, here we have 2020. That gray line, I guess, indicates C19. And the spending. And then, of course, we move into 2021. And then we have, Biden takes office. I'm just looking at the spending.
Could you look something up for me, please?
Sure. What do you, on the Fred? Yeah. If you give me
Yeah.
a second. Yeah. Do you not have access to a computer right there?
No, I do. I just want you to pull it up.
Oh, I don't want to do it. Can you navigate for us?
I mean, I'd like it to be on screen.
I'm looking at something else. Would you mind?
I can wait.
Yeah. Can you want to pull it up yourself?
I don't want to share my screen. I was just asking if you could open a new tab.
You don't want to share the screen?
Well, I'm just saying it'd be really easy. You're already sharing your screen. I mean,
Well, hold on. 'Cause I know
you can finish with your point.
No, I was just looking at the spending, from these years.
Trump's 2020 spending beats Biden's in all of 2021.
Well, no, I'd like to say just a basic economic question. How does spending increase inflation?
How does spending increase inflation?
Yeah, I mean, is that not what you're trying to get at, or?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, it spending will increase inflation. I mean, it will. The more money we spend, it will devalue our actual dollar. That's and then when it comes to the cost of energy, and when it comes to the amount that these companies pay for their product, that definitely affects inflation right there.
So
Okay, well, can
I'm
you
interested,
pull up,
Matthew, explain what your full thought, because I think you got more to what you're thinking there.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I mean, if you're trying to blame the COVID spending for inflation, I think you should also probably pull up something like real GDP to see, okay, how is that money being spent? I mean, like, real GDP, as long as Biden's been in office, which is, investment, consumption, net exports adjusted for inflation, has not really, it's mostly been below trend. I think this demand side story of inflation is a little weak.
I wouldn't say it's weak at all. I mean, if you compare the PPI versus the CPI, yeah, you can see the difference. When we do spend money on this shit, like I said, all that stuff goes up in price. Energy costs, all of that stuff goes up, which the cost for these companies to do business is going to go up. So, I mean, it's definitely gonna affect us as consumers.
Sure, but I mean, don't you think? I mean,
No,
when we're
not
talking
sure,
about
but-
the inflation,
no, not sure,
don't you
but
think there was
that's
also
not-
a
that's not
major
true.
event
It's
that
the
also
grocery
Hang on
store
one at a
price
time, guys.
gouging.
Let
It's
Matthew
the grocery
complete his
store price
thought.
gouging.
He's got to complete all of his thoughts and interrupt several of mine.
No, but
It's
you
not,
guys
it's not a sure,
think that
but
price gouging. I can't believe that people are continuing this price gouging shit. It's like, if you read the full article, because everyone likes to compare, what's it called, Kroger or whatnot. If you read the full article, because no one ever reads past the fucking headline, it talks about the fact that they had to raise prices in certain areas because they were losing in other areas.
But saying that spending raises inflation is a headline.
They didn't admit
That's
to
the same
price
bullshit.
gouging. That's such bullshit. You got to read past the fucking headline. It's so bullshit.
It's not
So
just
hang
the
on.
headline.
So
It's
when
not
you
just the
add
headline.
spending, let's stick to the spending one. When you add spending, that's like your budget was $100, and next year I'm going to spend 110. So you're adding incremental spend into the system. How does that not, result in inflation? Because the budget has to balance.
Well, I can tell you.
You're either going to tax people to, get more revenue, or you have to, bring out the printing press.
Well, no, I could tell why it doesn't, incrementally doing it wouldn't increase inflation. It's because supply isn't inelastic, right? You can increase demand, which will also increase supply proportionally. Now, I mean, if you need some,
I want you guys to do me a favor then. I want you to go type into Google when you get a chance. I want you to type in top 10 left-leaning economists. And then I want you to go see what they have to say about it.
I mean, I think for the purpose of this, it doesn't. Well, okay. I mean, you could say that. I don't think it's super relevant. I mean, what do you think?
I'm just saying, go do it. And, when you get a chance, just go type in top 10 left-leaning economists and then go read about what they have to say about it. Because
Do you think
just
what I said
saying,
was
like-
wrong?
Okay, whatever.
Well, no, I'm just asking. I mean, if we want to get into economists' opinions, what do you think economists' opinions were of Trump's tariffs?
So the modern economic theory is kind of weird. I've been reading about it a little bit more, and what's the weird part to me is the idea that taxation is like one of the primary vehicles to dealing with inflation. And so a lot of the, I guess, Nobel laureates and other folks that are siding with, the liberal candidate have that and some other things that are kind of counterintuitive to me as kind of like a leading piece to kind of manage inflation. And they're, attributing the tax cuts to being a driver of inflation. So it's strange to me how a lot of this modern theory is kind of unfolding and saying that spending is okay. You can continue to spend as a government. It's okay. It's actually a good thing to increase your spending. The GDP, debt to GDP getting increasingly higher and higher is actually not a big deal. It's like bizarre to me, these modern economic theories.
In the
Well,
wake
there's
of
two different
COVID,
types of
hold on.
Go ahead.
Everyone else has gotten to speak. It's my fucking turn.
Wow,
Jesus
relax,
Christ.
you little shit.
Fair enough.
It is false to say that in the wake of COVID that it is bad to spend. The United States did spend its way out of COVID without saying that with like more subtlety, because it is the largest major economy that responded the most successfully to COVID. So it by spending, it brought core inflation down, the economy up, and the labor market back. So spending
that brought core inflation down.
Yeah, stop. Spending can be a good thing. There is spending does not mean more spending does not mean more inflation. That is an elementary 101 level of economy thinking.
Yeah, that is true. That
Yes,
is true.
thank you. I know that. You don't. I don't need your affirmation.
I'm not denying
I don't need your affirmation or your interruption. There is a way to do healthy investment. For example, putting money back into the economy, like through the child tax credit, puts money in Americans' pockets that they then put back into the economy. If you completely collapse it and close small businesses and do things like that, that brings the entire economy down. So there are ways to spend by putting money into healthcare, by putting money into Americans' pockets, that they then recycle through the economy. That brings that a rising tide lifts all boats. So it is juvenile and silly to say that more spending equals more inflation.
Okay, so I got a
That's
question
the
for
most
you then.
non-Etherean
I
view
got a question for you
economists.
then.
I can't stand that point of view. It's like the more money
It doesn't
we
matter
throw
if you can
at
stand it or not. It's what
It's like
happened.
saying-
Hang on.
It's what
To me-
happened.
To me, it's like saying,
We
hey,
had
the
the
more piggy
most
banks I
successful
buy, the
major-
more
Guys,
money
hang on
I
a second. I
save.
got a
We had the
question
most
for Mark
success.
there.
We had the
Mark.
most successful economic recovery of all major countries to
But
COVID.
Mark,
period.
hold on a second. So spending on its own has there's like an effect that happens along with it. The spending, was it supplemented via increasing the money supply, or was it through pulling in more revenue and it's more of a redistribution?
Well, both.
The more piggy banks we buy, the more money we save, right? Fucking idiots.
That's a dumb fucking thing to say.
Well, I'd
Real
like
dumb fucking
to
thing.
add on to what this other guy said. I mean, I think, and you can look at the differences between how Trump and Biden added to the debt, right? Biden has primarily added to it via very targeted, progressive, downward spending, whereas Trump added to the debt by giving very large tax cuts that are putting $200 billion a year holes in the deficit. And that didn't really boost investment in any real way. Went into stock buybacks and largely got sat on.
The biggest thing Trump did that was a big mistake was giving everyone those $1,200 checks. I can at least admit to that. But as far as what you're saying, no, sorry. I will admit.
Well,
at
I
least
mean,
to that.
Trump
That was
spent more and added more to the deficit than Biden did.
Yep.
Period.
Well, it's,
Period.
almost, it's almost like there was a global pandemic or something
No,
that happened.
before
That he had
It
to
doesn't
account
fucking
for.
matter because that's the argument you're making.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't fucking
They
matter.
shut down the
That's
entire
argument.
government
But
of
you're
the
bitching
United
about
States
Biden
for
spending. You're
for
bitching about
almost a
spending.
year.
You're bitching about spending. He spent more. Yeah,
Heard that
there you go.
Like even before the pandemic, Trump added 8 billion
We didn't need to keep printing, though. Like I showed you, when Trump was in office, he was moving at the same incline that the rest of the presidents before him were moving at. COVID happened, Biden got into office, and he just kept spending when we didn't need to keep fucking spending, guys.
Sure.
Spent more, asshole.
The point still stands.
Trump spent more because he was in the core of dealing with it.
No, Trump added $8 trillion to the debt before COVID. Now, if you want to argue that Trump was running on, I'm just the same as Obama.
I just showed you.
The tax code for billionaires is the largest contribution to that.
Here, I got the numbers right here, guys. I got the numbers right here. 2017, 0.67 trillion was added to the debt. 2018 was 1.27. 2019 was 1.2. 2020 was 4.22, but I think we can all rationalize that as being a huge amount of COVID spending. It was over 2 trillion.
Doesn't matter. It's still
And then
spending.
20. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? So 2021 is 2.77 trillion. 22 is 1.4, and then 1.7 for 23.
Yeah, so far less than Trump did. Thank you. Appreciate that.
If you look at the numbers and take the 2 trillion of COVID specific spending out of 2020, they're not the same.
Yes, it is. Trump is still ahead. Trump is still ahead.
No, he's not.
Look,
Yes, he is.
the political cow. It doesn't matter if you
Go ahead and add them all up. Add all those numbers up.
He literally just did, you clown.
It doesn't matter if you can convince them of anything. In the end, they're still going to say, "Oh, I just don't like Trump." So let's just get to that.
4224 or 642224 is different than 422.
I wish. No. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to get to the point where you guys finally say, "Oh, I just fucking hate Trump." I'm just not going to do this tonight.
I do fucking hate Trump. There you go. Congratulations.
I hate Trump too.
Already hit it.
Just can't.
Yeah, I said that. I thought I started with that. Sorry, you weren't paying attention.
So how has the last 4 years gone for you guys? Has it gone pretty good?
Pretty
And
good.
I'm talking about the Kamala supporters here.
Better than the 4 before it.
In what
Yeah,
way?
absolutely.
Like what's been super good for you?
Well, you want to look at jobs? You want to look at real median income?
Like for you personally, right? Because you can look at this aggregate data, right? And everybody points to the stock market, and then you have these surveys go out where half of the people surveyed have trouble paying their rent.
Yeah, this is the Ronald Reagan argument. Are you better off than you were 4 years before? I have a better job. Yes, better job, more money in my pocket. My city has free public transportation, a new soccer stadium, a new airport, all new roads because of
What city do you live in?
Kansas City.
Okay, well, hey, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, middle of a red state. Biden infrastructure plan has gone great.
Red state.
Yeah, Missouri is a red state. Yeah, one of the reddest actually. 48th ranked in education, by the way.
I'm in Los Angeles, and we are fucking drowning here. So
Yeah, whatever you need to say. So
Hey, isn't Missouri the one where is she running for secretary? I can't remember. I got to look her up. You got that one person running that's like, hold on a second.
what about the Garcia girl who like said like the F slur about gay people like as a political
she's
ad?
just like off the charts on X and stuff. Like,
You know where she finished in her house race? Seventh.
did she really?
Yeah.
I just saw a couple of clips and it was like so outrageous. It like drew a bunch of attention to it. I didn't know if it was serious.
Dude,
or not.
it's not much better, man. The attorney general is horrible. It's a nightmare. Missouri's a nightmare state. Ranked 48th in education for a reason.
Okay. So, Matthew, how have you fared?
Well, I'm 20. I'm in school. 4 years ago, I was in high school. But generally, I think things have fared better. I'm not going to have too much of an anecdote in that regard. But
America is in a better place. The COVID recovery again is the best of
I'm sorry,
all, if not most, major nations.
You can't say that. And if you look at
It's a relative experience. I understand that Americans, comparing it to other Americans,
that Americans have in their savings account, also the amount of defaults, the amount of people who are defaulting on loans and all
Yes.
that bullshit. We're not in a better place, buddy.
It's better than other major countries. Yes.
can I say something about that? You can go and look at like the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, right? People are in a better place than they were in 2019. I mean, they're
Savings are down, debt's up. So
No. This is a vibes versus facts argument.
Kamala
this is
Harris's
facts.
whole
Debt is
campaign
up
is
significantly.
vibes.
Household debt's up big time.
Republican, yes, no, that is a problem with capitalism. That is a problem with the state of where we are. That has nothing to do with COVID recovery. It has nothing to do with businesses opening back up, money in people's pockets, how inflation has been controlled. People want to complain, and it is correct. Like these dinner table issues of like what eggs cost, and eggs are a bad metric because they're like back to normal, gas is back to normal. But there are certain items or DoorDash or tipping or whatever that is a vibes based argument. It has nothing to do with how our country has responded, which is great, but that is hard to tell someone who is working two jobs. I think it's like 60% of households have two people working, and that is just not the way that it was years ago. But that has nothing.
Like the highest debt they've been in years. Are you
Again, but that has nothing to do with Biden. That has nothing to do with Biden.
I mean, we have zero savings and we're defaulting all over the place.
One, that's not true.
Wait,
It is
who has
absolutely
zero
not true.
savings?
That's
Who
not
has zero
true.
savings.
Americans.
Americans have literally zero savings. Is that what you're saying?
Americans have savings. No shit. Their savings are low.
Do you
Before
think
we
it's
get into
higher or
the
lower than
semantics
it was in
argument.
2019? I mean, like we know the answer to this. I mean, like you're not going to argue that the economy
That's
is
not true.
worse.
Yeah, it's just like absolutely not true.
So you're saying that we're not defaulting and we don't have higher credit card debt?
No, of course we are. No, of course we are. No, that's an American issue. That is a capitalism issue. That is not something that you can pin on Joe Biden.
So we should vote for the socialist candidate. Got it.
We have no socialist candidate. There's none.
Kamala
Anywhere.
Harris is literally a socialist candidate.
One, it's not Kamala, and two, there is
I
no.
told you,
She's
fuck it
not.
up.
That's a dumb fucking thing to say. She's not socialist. That is an ignorant thing to say, because one, you don't know who Kamala Harris is, and two, you don't know what socialism is.
Oh, jeez. You know what? Political, I can't deal with fucking assholes that at the
What's socialism? Go ahead. What's socialism?
That's all right. You're all good. You're all good.
What's socialism? Go ahead.
It's
Pop
pretty
off,
late
King.
to
He's a certified Marxist.
the
So.
approach. I followed you, so I'll look out for you next time you come by. It's not
Pop
big
off,
deal.
King. Tell me what socialism is before you go night night.
Hey, come on.
Yeah. I'm not just,
So just no.
Well, I mean, we could still acknowledge a couple facts, right?
You'll be happy, piece of shit.
It's a demonism word. It's a demonism word. It's a boogeyman. You're scared of it, so you just say socialist, communist, Marxist because you're scared of it, and you don't need to.
Personally, I would rather have a socialist president than keep someone that tried
you
to.
guys probably want socialized.
There's no such thing as a socialist president. Someone in a
Hold on.
socialist
I'm gonna land the plane
is a
real quick.
dictator.
I'm guessing you guys want socialized healthcare.
Get Sherlock because it's cheaper than what we have now.
All right. Let me just. I'm gonna destroy your argument, but I'm gonna be really nice.
Wait, before
I
you go
still
on
need
that
you to
tangent-
define what socialism is
Hold on,
first.
hold on. Before you go on
Liquid
that
out of the
tangent,
bottle
I'd
there,
like to
so
say,
it's getting pretty serious. Go ahead.
if you're talking about
What's socialism? What's
Wait, wait,
socialism?
wait.
Check this out. All right.
What's
so here's the thing. Here's
What's
the thing.
socialism?
Here's the
What's
thing.
socialism?
Just quiet, child.
Stop repeating.
So socialized healthcare.
He's repeating himself too. He doesn't know what the fuck he's saying.
Hold on. Socialized healthcare. I actually wouldn't mind socialized healthcare, but the problem is that socialized healthcare only works in two different fucking scenarios. Okay. One, on a very
other
small,
major
hold on,
country.
shut the fuck up for a second. On a very small level, like somewhere like Ireland, right? And then two,
Europe,
so
Canada,
Japan,
all
hold
of
on,
Europe.
hold on. So Japan, hold on, shut the fuck up for a second. So Japan has like a socialized type healthcare, right? They also have more of a hybrid system to where they have, private ties on the side, right? But the only way this works is two ways. One, on a very small level, and two, in a healthy society. Okay, Japan has a very fucking healthy society. Now we have Canada, our friends to the north, right? Who
Why would
are
small
healthier
scale
than us.
matter?
Hold on, shut the fuck up. Who are healthier than us,
He's
right?
so in his feelings.
But then again, they are having issues with their socialized healthcare, where of course they have wait times and so on. If it came to America, you guys,
So does America.
hold on, with this unhealthy society, right? We are going to be 10 times
'Cause we're all fat.
fucking 20 times worse than what Canada is dealing with right now. Okay,
No, it's not.
I want socialized
This is
healthcare. I do.
feelings.
Shut the fuck up. I
These
do
are just
want
your feelings.
no,
Hey,
no,
hang
you
on,
can
hang
say
on. Let
feelings
him-
all
let him
day,
complete his thought.
but shut up and fucking listen for a second. I'm telling you, I wouldn't mind socialized fucking healthcare, but unless we can create a fucking healthy society, it won't work, guys. I'm sorry, your fucking utopia is fucking it's gone.
You know how you
telling
make
you,
a healthy
socialized
society?
healthcare
You know how
can-
you make a healthy society is you give people
It's by
fucking
fucking
healthcare.
getting rid of
you
the
give
fucking
people
GMOs,
healthcare.
getting rid of all the bullshit that's in our fucking food. That's how you fucking make a healthy society. You dumb
here's the
fucking
thing,
Good-
though.
good luck
Here's the
fighting
thing, though.
capitalism.
Socialized healthcare can make people healthier by two means.
No, it can't, because all it's
No.
going to do is fucking
Yes, it
give
does. Hey, I'll let you
people that aren't
speak.
healthier
fucking
is gonna die.
medications.
I'll let you
It's
speak.
bullshit.
Hey, I'll let you speak.
No, I'm landing my plane. I'm fucking. You guys, I can't talk to these clowns.
Hey,
Bye,
hey,
sweetheart.
Yeah,
there's
you
two
guys are
mechanisms.
clowns.
One increases the uptake of preventative care. Two leads to cost savings.
Fucking care. I'm fucking so tired of hearing people say the word preventative fucking care. You guys are.
What do you think that means, asshole?
bro?
What do you think that means? What do you think preventative healthcare means?
Checkups more often and fucking
Yes,
saying, oh,
literally,
this is
yes.
what's
You're
gonna
saying it
happen.
like a fucking child, but yes, that's what that means.
It's not going to help our fucking health.
Catching
our society be
diseases
healthier.
earlier is less expensive.
It's not going to make our society healthier. You fucking
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
libtard piece of shit.
Because
Anyway.
I'm not a liberal. The second you
I don't
catch
give
a
shit. You're a
disease,
leftist. Then you're
you
clearly
need
a
to,
leftist.
yes, clearly.
Yes.
Because if you catch
Clearly.
breast cancer before it happens, you're less of a burden on our healthcare system,
Bro,
and it's less
How do you
expensive
How do you catch breast cancer before it happens? I'm
by
sorry,
preventative
I just wanna
screenings,
ask some people.
dumbass.
All right, you know what? You guys are
No,
idiots.
I was genuinely asking.
Stage 5 cancer is a myth.
Al, I appreciate you having me. I can't deal with these fucking kids. But
You go to the doctor more often. Because doctors are the main source of Americans' healthcare is the fucking emergency room, which is the most expensive way to pursue that. And so if you get preventative screenings because you have open access to healthcare, you will get preventative screenings. You will go to the doctor more often. You will go to the dentist more often. So you're not waiting for an emergency to happen. You're not waiting for your teeth to fucking fall out. You're not waiting to have cancer. You're not waiting for this major event to happen. You get preventative healthcare. Those bills cost less, and so you are less of a burden on the healthcare system.
Well, and also, I mean, it's a good thing we have actual data on this. We know what happened with preventative care after the ACA expansions. I mean, it went up. I mean, there's no reason to think that a literal single-payer system wouldn't do the same.
I'll tell you what, guys, on this particular topic, I mean, I'm typically conservative on a lot of things, but I'm with you here on this one. I think that the insurance companies don't really add any value to the whole system.
You host, it's cheaper. Because what we pay in insurance premiums
Well,
because
I don't
you
even
already
think
pay
of
for
it in those
insurance,
terms.
right?
Like the Heritage Foundation, I think somebody on a previous slide, I haven't looked it up yet, but they said the Heritage Foundation actually came to that same conclusion, that it would be more effective.
I think it was Mercatus, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that, and it's more from like a human thought process at first, right? That like we should be taking care of folks, right? Like we want to take care of the elderly, right? Like we want to kind of save somebody's house if it's burning.
Well, and
Ironic part. Oh, go ahead, Matthew.
No, I was just going to say, on top of that, I mean, it's not just that, health insurance companies don't add anything. They're actively wasteful. I mean, it's like a massive portion of our healthcare spending is literally just in private administration. like something like 25%. You compare that to other countries or administrative costs for like Medicare or Medicaid, it's like 2%. It's like a needlessly wasteful amount of spending going to this thing that adds nothing and does nothing.
So the funny thing is like it's the populations that are demonized the most, right? It is poor people, people of color, homeless people, and the elderly. Those are the largest, like not the largest burdens on our healthcare system, but like when you combine those margins, right? Those are the people who don't have insurance. Those are the people who seek the emergency room care, which 300x increases their spending, right? Because it's the same thing I'm talking about, right? Like there's a chef at a place that I frequent, right, where he's like, I have this tooth infection, I'm just gonna like rip it out, right? He's gonna rip that tooth out. It's gonna become an abscess, and then he's gonna get a $3,000 ER bill when he goes in, and you know what he's gonna get? Antibiotics and told to go to a dentist. And that's just it. That's just like literally how my doctor or partner like described it to him. He's like, you can go to this Medicare facility that we have and pay your $50 government subsidized copay and get care for it and have like a dental student or whatever work on your teeth, or you can wait until it's a $3,000 ER bill. And just that's literally the American healthcare system in a nutshell. One of the best things Trump ever did was start the $35 insulin piece. That was a temporary measure. Joe Biden made it permanent, because when you allow the government to or when you allow Medicaid and Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices, we are the largest buyer of the government is the largest buyer of prescription drugs. So when they get to negotiate those prices, they're going to drive it way down. When you allow just private big pharma, you know, the biggest enemy of Republicans and Americans in general, right? Like where everyone's like, oh, big pharma this, big pharma that. Okay, the government has all of the money. Let them do the negotiating because they drive it down. And so that is, again, universalized healthcare works for every other major nation on the planet. It is purely greed and money that forces America to keep it. We pay more in insurance and our copays because we all have shitty insurance where if you get in a car accident, they're like, okay, yeah, you can go to the emergency room, but you have $1,000 deductible. So what are we paying insurance for? If we have $1,000, $2,000 deductible, it's not cheaper. It's literally just not cheaper than socialized medicine.
Yeah, they price it at the right point like that.
I'm gonna have to get off here because it's way
the
too
starting
late.
point for me, like I want it to be, you know, as effective as possible in the transition. That's where I get a little worried because I hear the stats you're giving. I just don't know how people are going to execute it. That's the only part that worries me, but it's like we have to take a step forward. And it's like, you know, if you want to take the premiums I pay and what my company puts into it as well and round that up as a starting point and just, you know, try to make that shift, I'm totally fine with that.
You know what they charge my sister?
What do they charge?
$500.
Come on, man. Really?
That's 2 Tylenol that you can walk across the street to a Walgreens and get for $5.
But it wasn't the IV version. They had to convert it, you know?
Charge mothers to hold their newborn babies. So, I mean,
It's insane what hospitals charge for everything. Like it's literally insane. They'll charge you for anything.
Yeah, it's out of control. It's completely out of control. And you know, I had some surgery late last year, and it's like the steady flow of invoices from all these places I have no idea about, and it's like duplicate ones. And it's like you really got to stay on top of that thing. It's like, ooh, I don't know how many of these things get paid twice. How many people are like on top of it all? I don't know. I had a hard time with it.
So one of the things that I thought about actually, like, so like you're wherever and you get into a car accident and they have to life flight you out. You're paying for that helicopter ride.
oh,
Like, that's crazy because like you could be sitting there with like a DNR, like, nope. And guess what? If you have a DNR, You're not paying for the helicopter ride. Your family's paying for the helicopter ride.
I had a seizure in college. I was in the middle of like a 200-person lecture hall. It was psychology of sexuality. And so everyone had to have a psych credit. So even like the football players took it, right? Everyone took it. They're like, okay, cool, I'm going to learn about sex stuff.
Naturally.
You're right, yeah. Ironically, we had a trans speaker that day. So it was a guest speaker. And this was 2000, I'm dating myself, 2010. And I had my laptop on my lap and I just experienced a seizure. And so my legs like shot out and I blacked out for like 2 full minutes. And I woke up and there were just 200 people and a guest lecturer and the professor all just like staring at me. Because I guess convulsed or something. This is the first seizure I've had in my lifetime since I was like a baby.
So you had no idea what the hell happened.
No, not at all. And the smartest thing I did was they obviously took me outside once I could like move again. I refused the ambulance. I found out that
it's like a $10,000.
Yeah, I found out it would have been $6,000, and we're talking about Lincoln, Nebraska. Here, $6,000 for a 12-minute ride to the hospital.
And you would have been sitting there. They would have been taking your vitals and been like,
while I was already back awake. Yeah.
That's all they would have been doing. They would have just been taking your vitals and telling you like, yeah, you seem fine. Don't know what happened.
It's the most predatory. So I slipped on my own porch 2 Januaries ago and separated my clavicle. Like my bone was like poking out of my shoulder.
Oh.
And I work at a university, luckily. But if I did not have insurance, that was a $30,000 surgery for them to screw my clavicle back together. For them to put a screw in my shoulder that's like still there. And the doctor told me, because I was having problems with it, I could feel like a heat in it and it was uncomfortable, and now I still can't sleep on my right side. He told me to deal with it because otherwise they were going to have to do another surgery to remove it, and that would have been another, I don't know, $5,000-$10,000 just to take the screw out.
Yeah, I've got 7 in my arm right now that I don't feel it that much, so there's no way I'm going to have them take it out for fun at this point.
Yeah, like I worry about this type of thing with like, so my mom, she has really good health insurance through her work. Basically, whenever she hits like her coverage, and she has like rheumatoid arthritis, stuff like that, where as soon as she hits, I think it's like $2,000, everything is covered 100%, like for her premiums and everything like that. So, like her arthritis treatments are like $1,500, and they're every 2 months. So it sucks that she has these diseases. Oh well, bye.
The biggest thing for me is things that you have no control over, right?
Oh shit, you're still here. It looked like you aren't here.
There's been problems on this app. I don't know what's going on.
Like
Yeah,
you're diabetic. I mean, insulin was like that, right? But there were so many stories when that policy like rolled over, and the like $35 thing actually hit, of people saying like, I paid. It went from like people were like, I paid $1,200 every 2 weeks for this drug that like keeps me alive.
Yeah, and that's insane. Like, and so this is my problem that I have, and I'm gonna circle it back to the Kamala.
Yeah.
I'm gonna circle it back to that because she's saying, "Hey, we're gonna go after price gouging. We're gonna go after this. Go after the fucking medical companies that are targeting these people that like need these drugs to stay alive that cost them 30 cents on the dollar to make."
Why
you shouldn't be able to charge $200 for a gram of for a drop of insulin.
Absolutely. I did find out recently. So like Ozempic, the like weight loss thing that, I mean, it is a diabetes drug like that actual diabetics actually need, but now it's like the Hollywood hot thing that everyone's just using to lose weight or whatever.
Yep.
They charge, I think it's $3,300 per vial. I just guess what it costs to manufacture that vial of
15 bucks.
I'm not shitting you. It's like $80. It's $80. Again, my I cannot out my partner who is in this business, but it is $80. So it goes from $80 to $3,500. That is what they charge. That's not what they charge the customer. That's what they charge the hospital. So
wow.
Now
and then
imagine
the hospital turns around and charges it for however much they want.
Isn't that obscene?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Where did this all break down? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like this always. Because I remember when I first started working, like early 2000s, and I had insurance. I mean, I didn't know any better, but like it was like a $5 copay, and that was it. I don't think there was co-insurance. I don't even remember what the deductible was. I got in like a car accident, and I still was just like I didn't have to pay a whole lot for stuff. It's I don't know where stuff like broke down to where the costs escalated and insurance just, added no real value on top of stuff. It's just like bizarre, all the stuff that you guys are mentioning here.
It's the
Not
most,
to this point.
unfortunately, medicine is just like the most profitable thing because it's like the most easily gatekept thing. Ironically, like the most well-paid doctors are like fertility doctors. So like women who get like IVF treatments or whatever, that's like 30 or like to like freeze an egg or whatever, you're talking like $3,000 to $5,000 a year to stick it in a fridge. That I know that fridge doesn't cost $5,000 to upkeep, right? It's just because it is such a like quote unquote like difficult thing to do, and then those treatments are 15 to 30 grand per implementation. So every time they implant an egg in a woman, which again is just I hate to be crude about this, sticking a fucking turkey baster up there, like $30,000 just to do that like simple procedure. It's
I mean, you have to remember that like you're removing an egg from a human being and keeping that like that egg viable. So like everything has to be temperature controlled, everything has to be maintained pretty much where everything is, and I haven't looked into, I'm just going off of like just base knowledge, just common sense of thinking about what would like IVF entail, because I'm pretty sure that you would have to like flash freeze an egg. Like,
I'm not saying it's not complicated.
You're not putting them into like a Samsung.
I'm saying it's a very predatory, exorbitant industry. Like with the Tylenol administration for a newborn, that same kind of thing. I'm talking like 10, 30, 500x what like the actual procedure costs and the amount of like labor involved with it. It's not like building a house. It's not like fixing a toilet. These are very. And so the socialized medicine thing is again like a boogeyman, and I hate to be that person, but again it's literally just capitalism. It just is. It's the idea that we have to progress every year. We have to benefit our shareholders every year. We have to show profit, and it's just that baseline thing of if you think of like a bakery, right? Every year we have to make more profit, which means we have to like bring in more customers or raise the prices of our croissants or whatever. Most industries like obviously want that, and in America they do behave like that. But there are certain things that are inelastic, as the other person said, right? Like gas to a certain extent is inelastic. Like medical care is inelastic. We will always need this certain there will always be this certain amount of people who definitely need this certain amount of things. And those things just should not change or should not be profit driven. Education should not be profit driven. America should want the smartest people here, and we should want the best for our kids so that we produce the best doctors and the best engineers. And so we should throw money at that. But when you make education profit driven, that brings in a lot of private companies who are like, you should use our curriculum, or you should use our pencils, or our whatever, our software. And when profit gets involved, it gets really dark very fast.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Unfortunately, like you said, it's election year, and like, so this one thing that could be kind of good is immediately thrown to the shadow realm because what's this for? It's this side's take, and then same thing with the other side. It doesn't matter which side. Like, those are just examples. Like, and then you have.
Are you still there?
God damn it.
All right.
Somebody said, like, teachers do with their own books. Teachers don't decide the price of books. College is honestly probably maybe even a better example than medicine, right?
Well, you know what? I had some college professors that made like their own makeshift textbooks, and it was like a 500-page printout.
Yep.
To buy for $50. Right? That's what
had a
resonates
college-
with me right there. It's like, doggone it, he just needed some lunch money, but you know.
I know it's a joke
That
now.
might have been a little bit more helpful.
I
the
know it's a
book you
joke
bought.
now. Yeah, I know it's a joke now, but I literally had two professors who were like, as a part of the syllabus, were like, whatever you do not go to these websites that have the PDF of your textbook on there. You should not go there and download it for free. Whatever you do.
Were they also rapidly stomping their foot while they were doing it?
They were the homies, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
were they rapidly stomping? Were they stomping their foot while they were doing it? Because they were probably ex-military. Don't do this. Don't
yeah.
do this.
I vehemently believe that.
Nod.
Of like KU across the pond from me, right? Or no, my alma mater, Lincoln, Nebraska, Cornhuskers. I think was like third. Yeah. Hey, we won today.
I'm a Penn State fan, so
I think it was 13K in state when I went there. I think it's like 25 now. And in the value of that, no knock against Nebraska, this happens everywhere. The value of that education from the University of Nebraska has not increased by $12,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's,
no one's going.
Yeah, it's just predatory.
You
It
don't have an
literally is just
Ivy League
predatory.
degree.
Right? Like, at that
It's not like,
time,
this dude's from Harvard. We need him.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, Kamala Harris is not the savior on this. She's not going to do. She has the same corporate masters as Donald Trump does. She is not going to change anything about medicine, anything about education in a meaningful way whatsoever. I think it's a joke if any liberal thinks that. Those are the people who sign her checks. It is just fucking stupid if any liberal thinks that she's gonna in any meaningful way. She like with insulin, right? Might do the like we're gonna bring this thing down to $35 or whatever. You know, target. I'm glad that Joe Biden has like eliminated a lot of like the private student loans, you know, like the super predatory, like, do you guys know what ITT Tech is? Like those universities?
Oh, yeah.
There was one in my hometown and I was like, this is a fucking scam. This is we promise you a job. We're going to teach you how to like code C++ and Python and you're going to definitely get a job or whatever. So a lot of those people got their loans forgiven and all of that stuff. But like, that's another met campaign promise of we're going to eliminate student debt. It was just another fucking lie. Republicans fall on that of like, I understand like that eliminating student debt doesn't fix current students or future students issues, but I don't think that the federal government holds a lot of those loans, and if we're writing checks to the federal government, they actually can effectively just like point, click, delete, erase those Excel rows of debt.
The challenge I have with that, like, I cut my own checks for my tuition every semester. I worked through college,
Yeah.
It makes me feel weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, what the heck, guys? Like, maybe I could have done it
Where was my
differently.
help?
You know what I mean?
So I find that argument very interesting because I don't think of like, hey, I work for my own rent. If we were to give like, I don't know, because people complain about homeless people all the time, right? If the government were to like, we're going to build 10 million homes and give a bunch of homeless people like free rent or something, I don't necessarily care that somebody else is getting free rent when I have to pay for my rent.
Well, it's like a different, like,
It depends on the situation.
You go through high school, right? Like, it's kind of like high school is kind of a standard here, right? You go through that. It's part of public education.
Oh, it's free. It's free, right?
It's free. Yeah. If there was like a different level that we kind of upped it and said like, okay, well, now the standard is everyone gets 2 years post high school or whatever it might be. That's like one thing, just, maybe along the lines of what you're talking about. Like, I'm good with doing something like that. But,
so free community college or trade school?
Something like that, right? It's just like,
see, I'm
let's
all
up
game for
level
that.
for folks.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that, actually.
Because I mean, there's like huge short. Like, we don't have enough plumbers. Like, it's becoming pretty bad. Like, I live in the Houston area, and it's like you're waiting if you need something major service done, and they're basically jumping from one emergency to another.
Well,
There's a lot of these things that I think that would give somebody a path, right? That
If we do the free community college and trade school, can we delete like 2 years of debt from everybody who's already gone through it that is still paying loans?
I still
Like
the trouble I have still with it is
Sort of, yeah. It's sort of grandfathering, right? Yeah, you're like, all right, 30, where everybody gets 30K. Because I know you guys have all, I've seen it. I hope you guys have seen it, where people are like, I ended, not me, but like hypothetically, I ended college with 60K in loan debt. I've been paying that. My wife and I have been paying our regular loan payments for the last 10, 15, 20 years, and now I have 75K in loan debt. You know what I'm saying?
I think the biggest thing is, what was the interest rate on your student loans, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, so that, again, that was hypothetical, but like, I know my dad told me these are the cheapest loans that you're ever going to get is student loans. And that is technically like true. But I mean, there are predatory ones. Don't get me wrong. But like,
I was gonna say, I don't know about that.
They're like
I had friends. Like,
the direct. Yeah, friends. Obviously, we're not. But like the federal plus or direct plus loans, or they like. And that is technically true, and you can like defer it for a long time and do all that stuff. But I'm just saying that like I did it quote unquote right. I got scholarships, I got grants. I went to an in-state school. I said 13K for Nebraska. I was born in Nebraska. I went there because that's where I got the most scholarships. We were poor growing up, so I had the what is it called, the Pell Grant. If your family was ever on food stamps, you get a Pell Grant. Okay. So then it took care of. So I walked out of undergrad and I worked, and paid down. So I walked out of undergrad with like, I don't know, $8,000 left or something. and that's nothing, right? But then I went immediately into teaching, and when you do teaching, you do your master's, and then that became, which I also got a grant for. I got 11K of, I think, 30 each year paid off, and that was 2 years, so 19. So I ended up with 38 plus 8, 46K total for a master's, which is nothing. I like for most, that's 6 years of education for 46 grand. But when I work in Missouri, and Missouri, like I said, is 48th ranked in the country. And so starting teacher pay in Missouri is $37,000.
Jesus God.
And when you get your master's, it's 51. And so that's still brutal,
Yeah, that's
guys.
still like a
Yeah.
There's a lot of this stuff that's, you think about it from a priority standpoint, right? And that kind of stuff doesn't make sense, right? Like with teachers and education, we got to prioritize that. But I don't know what the right answer is, because there's also the case of folks that didn't do anything with post-secondary education, and they're technically chipping in as well. It's like I don't know how to kind of manage it, because there's scenarios like you described, and there's people that are just kind of like completely underwater. I don't have a good answer. It all feels bad, to be honest.
It's so difficult money, and the state only gets so much money, and like school districts only get so much money. So it's where do you want to like put these things? Because generally the way to do it is if you hire like someone that's maybe you start dwindling down on it, instead of like, oh, this person has like a master's. Like, start looking at how they're teaching, what they're doing, their like teaching philosophies, which they might do. I don't know, because I'm not a teacher. But then from there, you put money into them to build these individuals to like then and kind of like trickle it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know how to make it work like on a mass scale. Like I think about like like New Orleans, like inner cities there. It's like, how do you get folks to help with that situation? You know what I mean? It's like, it's really tough to get people in there, but then also they're not getting the right. Hey, appreciate that, Mark. It's hard to.
Is Mark still here, or did he leave?
He's still here. I see his icon.
I don't see him. I just get requests.
Yeah. It's I don't know. The app's doing funny stuff right now. They probably pushed an update that needs another
messing
update.
Everything up.
Yeah. But like there's difficult teaching situations, and the benefit to the teachers and the compensation is just kind of not there, right? And so then what happens in that scenario? How do you kind of increase that? So like where I'm at, the teachers, you have to vote on their raise, because for whatever reason, I didn't know this until I started looking at it a little bit more a couple of years ago. Even though more revenue comes into the county and there's a separate school district kind of tax that's part of your property tax, that doesn't all go to the school, right? It's kind of like Social Security, just goes into the general fund. And so when the teachers need a raise, it's not like, oh, property values went up and we're paying more taxes. Well, like, of course, give them a raise. They need to like issue another bond, or they need to, increase taxes further. Like, I don't know where all the money's going.
And I feel like that's the major thing that we're running into, is like people just aren't involved in local politics, myself included, because I move around a lot for work, so I'm not gonna go like sit in on a city council meeting and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's too much stuff, right?
Right, but at the same time, that's where you have all of these like they're voting on local taxes. They're voting on school board approvals, which I think the school board has their own board, which is wild.
That's honestly what has made like Kansas City such a mecca of like, it's such a hub now for progress, is those local votes paid for free transportation. So Kansas City has like a streetcar, so like a rail line, kind of like San Francisco has like the cable cars, you know. So Kansas City has one that's like built into Main Street, but that's free, and all of the bus lines in Kansas City are free. But that was a local ordinance that taxpayers voted on. And then I don't know if y'all heard, but this was like a big hubbub here a couple months ago for the midterm or whatever. The April election was the Royals were trying to move their stadium from where it is now, which is right next to the Chiefs Stadium. It's essentially a big ass parking lot, and the Royals and the Chiefs share the same big ass parking lot. And the Royals are trying to move downtown, right? Because downtown stadiums are all the rage and whatever. So we have this old newspaper building where the Kansas City Star used to be published, and it's this big, gorgeous green glass building in the middle of downtown that this billionaire owns, and the billionaire was involved. So he bought the old Kansas City Star building, and now that you can't do anything with that building, right? Because there's just giant there's just giant newspaper presses in there. You would have to remove all of them or just demolish the whole building. You know,
The building's probably historic.
It's historic. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's everything. But you know who is the Royals' largest investor for the downtown movement?
Who's that?
The guy who bought the Kansas City Star building.
Oh.
Yep. So he wants to double pocket. He wants to pay himself to demolish the building and then build the Royal Stadium. And then that would wipe out all of the businesses around there, because now there's a giant baseball stadium there. And the Chiefs, like Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, all the Royal players, they all cut these commercials for like, let's move the Royals and vote yes, and you know, all of this stuff. So they had all the star power. They had everybody was involved in this, and the taxpayers still voted no, because it was a 3/8 sales tax on all of Kansas City, and they're like, we are not going to pay extra sales tax, like an extra half a cent on every dollar we spend, to pay a billionaire to pay
move something,
pay himself back, and then build a baseball stadium. And honestly, that amount of grassroots fuck you billionaires movement in a technically a red state, right? Because Kansas City might be blue, but all the suburbs who can vote on this are all the same fear-mongering people of like, that's where our, I don't know, whatever, all of this bullshit. And so I was actually very, very proud of Kansas City for doing that. Because that's some heads up, that's some woke agenda for you, is to like, no, we are not paying a billionaire to pay themselves.
I think it hit multiple themes. You know what I mean? It's what you're talking about too, but then also the idea of like, I'm sorry, you're asking me to pay more taxes for what exactly? Right?
For this guy to build a stadium.
It hits a ton of themes that like resonated with, all kinds of people. It sounded like, thankfully. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I don't know, people are kind of dumb. And so like when like Patrick Mahomes tells people to do something, obviously he's a very beloved person around here.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is like, that's pretty crazy. I just think that's kind of crazy.
Hey, I gotta call it quits here in a minute. It's almost 5 a.m. my time, but I'll close out with one thought for you: is they probably would have gotten it passed if they had Taylor Swift jump in that commercial.
That's true. He's got a good point.
That probably would have pushed that right over that finish line.
Hit up the Rolodex.
Yeah. But hey, Mark, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in and kind of sharing your thoughts. And, you know, I know it got weird at times, but I appreciate you sticking through.
Good talking to you guys. I'm glad it kind of calmed down a little bit, and the conversation became much more productive at that point.
Yeah, no, I think once we realize that we're not too far off on certain things. Like, I think we're there. It's just a matter of picking who's going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say it's not Kamala Harris, if that helps you any.
You don't think Kamala Harris is going to do it?
No, man, no. It's like that uniparty feeling, right? Of like the fundamental
riled up for
things.
nothing.
The fundamental things, right? Of like it's healthcare, it's education, it has to be equal. It's housing. I'm a housing person personally. Of like. You have to give that to people. There has to be a better way to access that. Like, got to bring the real estate market down. Got to bring healthcare prices down. Got to bring education, because the American education system, as somebody who works in it currently, is like a nightmare. And we're just failing on like a lot of those things. And until like this like constant need to bring everything to the center, you know. You guys will probably disagree with me on this, but like, I think that need, I'm not saying push it far left, push it far right, do anything like that. But I think the need to just like bring everything to the center is real. It's killing us, man. Cause that's where like those profit centers are. That's what brings the price of Tylenol up. That's what brings textbooks and universities up. And we just can't keep being beholden.
It causes stagnation, and that's what the gridlock is. What keeps the machine working.
And the number one thing that all Americans agree on is that what's happening right now does not work.
Yeah. So I mean, that outcome. If we don't talk about that outcome, right? Like, we could probably all get around the outcomes, like we talked about on a few things tonight. And I don't think that's the view. It's always just like left, right, or what have you, but not. Well, what are we trying to get at, right? We're just talking all these little details that at the end of the day may not even matter. But
So
listen, guys, I gotta run. I apologize. I'm about to fall over.
dang it, I wanted to make one more point.
Oh, go ahead, Willie.
So my biggest thing is that with the housing and everything, I think that this is the biggest thing where I would put like marketing cap on. Like, hey, if you have these assets, you cannot buy this certain type of home, because we've seen over the last couple of years, large companies going in, buying single family homes and then using them to rent as rental properties to gain profit, because free money. And it's one of those things that it's like, do that. Like, put that legislation in. Because we were all talking about like socialist healthcare and like price caps on groceries and all this other stuff, but that's my biggest thing is like, hey, if you're a big market firm, you're not buying that's worth $100 million or over whatever price, you're not buying a single family home, because you're going to turn around and just turn it into a rental property.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, night, guys.
All right, y'all.
Night.
You take it easy. Speak again soon.